YouTube.com/Clay Kane Show. We're going to go live on the good YouTube just for a minute, chit chat with the folks, just some stories that we want to get to. But we are over there and we are LIVE live on YouTube. All right. Yes, we're officially there. What's up, y'all? Okay. Looking good. Beautiful. Also want to say tomorrow, Reecie, Colbert, and I are going to be live with Kicking It with Clay and Reecie. So we're celebrating Reecie getting 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. Let's get her to 25,000. I'm currently at almost like 7 subscribers short of 42,000 subscribers over on YouTube. So if you're there on YouTube, subscribe. You could also join Clay Nation. You get easy access to videos and you can comment and all that. I have more stuff coming with the membership and all that good stuff. So you can join Clay Nation for a couple of dollars. But we're here, we're live, we're good, we're feeling it. And Reecie, if folks are just tuning in now, explain to them what Kicking It with Clay and Reecie is, because it's not like our shows, right?
Yeah, it's not like another episode of
Right.
like the Clay King show. It's not like another episode of the Reese Colbert show. It is a fun interactive experience. And we're just, shooting the shit, just having a good time. It's very interactive. We go through the comments, we respond to it. It's not very structured. We have some stuff we might be like, oh, let's talk about this, but it is just a good time. We just hanging out. That's it. That's all we're doing, hanging out and having, a key moment with each other because we need joy in these
We need
moments,
to.
honey. So
We
yeah, it's
definitely
fun. It's
definitely
kind
need
of
to.
like Beyond the Mic, but Beyond the Mic has structure to it. But yeah, it's fun. I had so much fun last time. I still to this day, she was shaking her body, shaking her body, shaking her body. I mean, cackle at that.
I'm gonna have to go through my story archives to find a good Kicking It with Clay and Reecie story to tell tomorrow. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, y'all, Eastern Standard Time. So I'm gonna have to find a good story to revisit, because
Yeah.
I do have some crazy stories. So I have to go back into the archives to find one. Yeah, and
I've
that's
I've
right.
done a lot of exciting things, but it's all a blur. Like how just stuff happens and you
Yeah,
just I don't I
yeah.
don't I don't access it in the same way that you're able to access and tell a story. It's just so brilliant. Ugh.
You know what we should consider doing? I'm just brainstorming live on air. If you are a member of Clay Nation, we should maybe give them. Can we have people come on with us? Like jump in with us? Is that too complicated?
I'll look into it. I'll look into it, see how we
Yeah,
can do
see
it.
if we can
Yeah.
do that. Might be fun. Like just come on for like 5 minutes and say what's up. I don't know. Maybe, if you can. Yeah, it could be fun. I don't know, but that might be too complicated. I'll let you manage that. Let me know. But if folks, I've seen folks, do they bring in people? So
Mm-hmm.
we could see if that could be fun, or maybe we can do it next time. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to
Yeah,
figure that out. I'll have to figure that out.
yeah. See what the nuances is of it. All right, let's go to a call here because folks are waiting. Then I want to get to some topics. Let's go over to Tanya from Arkansas. What's up, Tanya?
Hey Clay, hey Reese, how are you all
Hey,
Hey.
doing
doing good, doing
on this
good.
wonderful Tuesday? And I hope you all remember me. I did the Black Trivia Quiz in Atlanta, and
Yes.
I was also at Beyond the Mic in Houston. I just adore
Oh,
you all.
nice.
So
Oh,
yeah,
Oh,
thank
thank you.
you're
you. Yes.
yeah,
Black trivia
just saying,
quiz. Wait, how do you do
Yes.
black trivia
That's wait. You got it,
yeah.
Stephanie. Play it. Remind people what it is. Play it. We got the little black trivia quiz, acapella,
Black
rolling up.
trivia quiz.
That's a good little
About
melody, isn't it?
that's a one line
I kind
bop.
of produced that. I made them sing it that way. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. What's up, Tanya?
I thought you were asking me to sing. If Clay, I was going to say, Clay, that's not my ministry. That's not.
Yes,
That's not
yes,
my
yes.
with the singing. But I was going to tell you, and Reese, you kind of mentioned it regarding knowing the VP just a few years ago in 2022. Some friends of mine, and I won't say the city, but we were in an Uber with a 25-year-old African American female Uber driver. She was really sweet, and we were headed to South Africa, but we had a long layover, and so we were in Uber, and so she was telling us about all of these different rappers that had restaurants and entertainers, African American entertainers that had restaurants, and she asked us why we were going to who we were going to South Africa with, and I'm a Delta, and I was going with a group of AKAs, and I told her, I said, you know who else is an AKA? And she said, who? I said, our vice president, and she said,
Mm,
oh, who is that? And I said, Kamala Harris.
mm,
And she said, oh, I never
mm.
heard of her. And so we pulled a picture of her up, and her response was, "Oh, she cute." And she had never heard of her. And my friends always told me I'm judgmental, but I just calmed down, and I just began to tell her, yes, she's our first African American and female vice president. She's a graduate of Howard University. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. And I just started educating her. But on the inside, I was livid. You know, all of these rappers and all these entertainers and their business. And when I got home from that trip, my son is 12. When I got home from South Africa, the first thing I said is, "Who is the vice president?" He was like, "Kamala Harris." "Mama, why are you asking me that?" We have got work to do. We have got work to do for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you. Let's hope that's the minority, though. Let's hope most people knew who the vice president was.
I don't know. I mean, yes, it's a minority. Numerically speaking, absolutely.
Numerically.
Yeah.
I know you're a data girl, so
I'm a data girl.
Yeah. Let's go over to Will from Texas, first time caller. What's up, Will?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
That's good. You heard what this bum Trump going to do? He trying to put on a military parade for his birthday, $100 million.
I heard
about
that.
Yeah, I think I heard that, and he also wanted that before as well. Like, he's been talking about that before. Not that this matters because they lie, but the White House has denied a military parade is scheduled for his birthday. That just happened recently. So they're saying it's not true, but
they be lying. They say shit is not true. Don't they was planning
Exactly.
it the whole time, but then when it's the bad headline, they're like, "Oh no, that." Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm just reporting. I'm just saying what allegedly, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. When's his birthday? In the first week of June? He's a Gemini. I don't know. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, but it's like really weird because my aunt Kay up there in Olympia Fields, Illinois, she's the godparents to Malia and Sasha Obama, and I'm from Peoria. I heard that you used to live in Peoria, but I don't know if you knew who the late Don Jackson was. He's my grandmother's first cousin. He died right after Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know who Don Jackson is. Who was Don Jackson?
Yeah. He was the state head and local head for the NAACP there in Illinois for like 30 years.
Ah, gotcha. I spoke at Peoria, Illinois, back in October. Yeah. But yeah, well, that's great. Well, hey, we got some amazing callers and all that good stuff. So I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
It's always fascinating to see who the callers are. They just have stuff that's so interesting, and I love the urban youth community is just it's one of my favorites. It's so great.
It's fire. It's loyal. It's incredible. It's incredible. You know, we talked a bit about this earlier in the show in the first hour, but I did want to get you to sound off on this, Reecie, because I do think it's important. As I was saying, you know, we covered everything with the Supreme Court ruling and them saying they can still use the Alien Enemies Act, but you know, they have to have due process when they throw somebody over to El Salvador. They're not getting it now. I don't know why they're going to obey a court order, but whatever the case may be. But then a reporter asked Trump if said Salvador, the president there said he would be willing to take American citizens in the federal prison population. Is that one of the ideas you're going to be discussing? And Trump said, well, I love that. If we could take some of our 20-time wise guys and push people into subways and that hit people over the back of the head, he goes on and on saying yes. He ultimately says, I'm all for it, but I'd only do it according to the law. And I was saying this before. I saw some folks on cable news discussing this yesterday. And like I was saying, they're talking about this like it's normal.
Right.
This like, well, he's just the president. He's saying what he says. This is not normal. If Biden or Obama said this, they would be calling for impeachment. It's unconstitutional. It doesn't make sense. Yet I wouldn't be surprised if somebody attempted to do it. And that's why it's so abnormal. But yeah, Reecie, your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. You know, I did predict this in some iteration of it. And at the time, everybody thought I sounded batshit because I said that part of what I said with this immigration stuff was that they're going to have to find a place to put undeportables because there are countries that will not accept people being deported to their country. And I said that they would have to, I predicted they would have a colony somewhere. Now, I couldn't have predicted that a whole ass existing country would be like, yeah, send your undeportables here. But I would characterize it, and it may not be the technical term, and you're more than welcome to correct me and say that ain't how you use it. But I consider what they're doing with these prisons in El Salvador, that's essentially semi-colonizing El Salvador. It's establishing a subsidiary that is controlled by the United States, or the exchange is controlled by the United States. And that is so fucking insane. But I said that was gonna happen. I expected that they were going to increase the incarceration population. I thought what was going to happen was they was going to ship the migrants out. And I'm not saying that was okay. I'm not saying it flippantly, but I thought they was going to ship the migrants out to some sort of colony somewhere. And then they was going to replace the prison power, or scale up the prison population in America, turn prisoners into, get more slave labor, because essentially that's what a lot of these prison labors are about. It's about having a workforce that's dirt cheap. They were going to replace the migrants. But I couldn't have predicted. They're so insane that they were going to be or deporting, or, shipping American citizens intentionally. Now, I know I said, look, they sloppy, they're incompetent. There is possible for an American citizen to get accidentally deported. But as this administration has gone on, it's become clear that no, it's not accidental. This isn't like, oh, well, good luck. Hopefully, they don't make a mistake and deport you. He said months ago that he would deport Americans. I don't even know what's the right term, because is it deporting when they're an American citizen? Like, I don't know the right meaning.
Well, the reason why I like your term colonizing, because there was this thing that a president did, was called ACS. It's called the American Colonization Society under Abraham Lincoln.
Talk
and
about
guess
it.
who they were kicking out of the country? Black folks. And at one point, they put them on a random island right outside of Haiti. And starvation, mutiny, violence occurred. They gave them no resources.
Yeah.
They just put them over to this island and to pull them out. And then Lincoln was really an advocate up until the bitter end, despite what some scholars say, for the American Colonization Society. So my theory, to your point, is that they have done their research, their American research. When you're pulling out policy from the 18th century, the 19th century, you've been doing your research.
Yeah.
So basically, it's what it looks like when the U.S. sets up an Americana-style profitable prison in another country. But that term right there, American colonization, when you said it, I thought of Lincoln. Now, for different reasons, but it was believed that they cannot be in this country. It was believed that maybe the way to solve this civil war is to get them out of the country. Then they had the Washington, D.C. Compensation Act. So you heard of this one before, where Lincoln was offering, because there was some areas, I forgot which area, where you were being compensated if you lost your property. But for some people in the D.C. Compensation Act, they said, nah, I don't want no money. I don't want no cash. I want to keep my property. Yeah. So for those who were shipped over,
and by property, you mean enslaved people.
Black people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't even take their cash reparations. Some did. Some did with the DC Compensation Act, but some folks said nah. So that, I think it's right on point. Yeah, you are literally setting up shop somewhere else. You are pulling people out of the country. And that's why I say we got to be careful thinking nothing to do with us, nothing to do. Nah, they went into the archives.
Well, and they've been doing that because in my book series, The Long and Short of a Guide to the 2022 midterms, I talked about how their anti-abortion stuff was actually activating laws, anti-abortion laws from the 1800s, from the early 1900s. Here is why I said this over and over and over and over and over again during not just the election, but like for years, I've been saying this. Citizenship was on the ballot, our citizenship. And I had a caller say, well, why should we care about what happened with the immigrants? Because they don't look at us as legitimate citizens either. Okay. Even though our blood, sweat, and tears built this country, our intellectual capital, inventions, ingenuity, technology built this country. And yet they still do not view us as citizens. And to the extent that people that they will recognize our contributions, they want to strip the black out of it and make it seem like that's beside the point that they were black, that this is an American accomplishment, not a black American did this. So when you think about the context through which these white nationalists operate, you should not feel safe because you were born an American citizen, because you can trace your lineage back generations. You're not a legitimate citizen in this country because you're not a human being to these people. And so what they do, and they're very clever with this, is they find the things that is hard to defend. So you say, oh, these are the Venezuelan gang members, and they have the people that have tattooed every inch of their body, and they make them look like, oh, these citizens. Well, yeah, get them motherfuckers, ship them out. Let's get them out. I don't give a damn what the law is. We got to get them out. They dangerous. And so they use people at the front of it. Now, mind you, in that batch of people, you had a makeup artist with a mom and dad tattoo. You had some people didn't have no goddamn tattoos. You had a Maryland father who was actually here legally. They don't show that part. They just show you the image. It's propaganda. And so when they want to ship out black people, they're gonna find the most egregious Willie Horton ass motherfucker that they can find,
or welfare queen,
or welfare, or whoever, and they're gonna make these the post. It might be one person, or they might have the greatest hits of criminals, or black ass criminals across the country, and put their ass on the plane in chains. Which, imagine that imagery. That's gonna be woo. The MAGA base, they're gonna love to see that shit. And they're gonna ship their asses out. And then people are gonna be like, well, you know, that person killed this person, that person was rapist, that person was this, that. And that's all people are gonna focus on. But yet in the midst of those people, it's gonna be somebody who didn't even do shit, got a parking ticket, somebody who protested at a Black Lives Matter rally. Y'all think y'all safe because you're not going out right now. They're going back to the archives. So absolutely, our citizenship is on the line here. And this Supreme Court, this white nationalist Supreme Court, has greenlit internment camps. They've greenlit revoking citizenship. They've greenlit hunting. Anybody who's not a white, presenting white, straight male, they've greenlit all of this. And on top of all that, it's not even the pretext is these are criminals, these are that. Even when they know somebody isn't those things, they still like, I don't give a damn, they're staying, because it's about power. It's not about saving our country. It's not about protecting our country. It is about power. It is about pushing the envelope as far as possible until they have this case law, until they have laws on the books, until they have desensitized people enough to where they can do whatever the hell they want to do. So that is why you should care, because you may not be one of them. But that ain't gonna help you. Just like it didn't help the gay makeup artist who didn't look like nobody, threatened to nobody. Didn't help the Maryland father, and it didn't help who knows the stories of people that are currently being kidnapped, held in captivity, because that's captivity. When you are taken from your home, shipped in chains to another fucking country that you have no ties to, held in inhumane conditions without due process, that's captivity. I know people ain't gonna want to hear it, but shit, we about to be back to the goddamn Middle Passage days. This shit is nuts.
Middle Passage in the air.
In the air, but by C-17s. And guess what? Our taxpayer dollars are paying for this. Be very, very clear about it. This shit ain't free. We ain't getting no tariffs from Venice or from El Salvador or Venezuela. We paying for this.
It's not about security. It's about neo-colonial disposal.
Yep.
That's what it is. Neo-colonial disposal. And it's concerning. And that's why, I've been covering the immigration issue since I first got on air.
You have.
I always knew the debate was.
Y'all keep it at the forefront.
First week, I said I always knew what the debate was. But here's my other thing, Reecie. I'm just going to say it. Some folks ain't going to like it. I know, the Republican Party is doing this research. I was saying this before the election. They're looking into the 19th century, 18th century archives. Do the Democrats know they're doing that research? They should have prepared. They should have prepared for the Alien Enemies Act. They should have put out neon signs that there's talk of the Insurrection Act of 1807. They should prepare, even before Trump got back into office. They went to an abortion law from the 1860s. Like, I just hope the Democrats who are in power, that y'all are doing your research too, to know what they're using. They're looking for any loophole, I hope y'all have some historians, at the DNC to say, hey, this is coming. Here's what Lincoln did. Here's what John Adams did. There's a great book that everybody who is a Democrat should be reading this book. The Presidents and the People, 5 leaders who threatened democracy and the citizens who fought to defend it. Like, they're doing their research. Is the side who wants to make sure that we don't lose all this. Like when you interviewed Leader Jeffries and Ken Martin, and you said, hey, I see ads during March Madness. Crazy ads from either Republicans or associated with. Where are y'all ads? And they say, and Ken Martin says, well, I just started a few weeks ago. We've known he won since November. Hell, I say prepare since July. Have all your options covered. Yeah. So there's that. So there's what the GOP is doing. And I know they're researching. But are y'all researching the other side? Y'all should be going through everything Lincoln did during the Civil War. Whether or not you like Lincoln or I'm Lincoln, obviously.
Right. No, you're right.
But you should know what he was doing.
Yep.
You should know what John Adams was doing. You should know what Nixon was trying to do. They're looking into all this, and I feel like y'all don't see it. There's some more coming.
There's 100%. 100%.
And it's all in our history. This isn't anything new. There have been presidents who have tried to overthrow democracy. That this has happened before. Now, not in the way, I haven't seen somebody get, try to do some crazy stuff, then get reelected and have an Elon Musk figure. Haven't seen that. But some of these things are in the archives. And I just wonder if Democrats are doing their proper research. Because history will give you the blueprint. It'll give you the answer. What do I know? Boy from West Philadelphia.
The cavalry ain't fucking coming. Okay. Definitely not the Democratic Party. I'm sorry. Like, if we could make it to 2026 and have legitimate elections, maybe we could get the House back. But child, by then, how many of us gonna be in motherfucking internment camps? How many of us gonna be in goddamn El Salvador? How many of us gonna be just ducking and dodging? We have a motherfucking underground railroad and shit. Okay. I can't even process the just how ill-equipped and how just The Democrats are institutionalists. The Supreme Court is not going to save us. The Supreme Court went full fucking white nationalist.
And damn sure not Amy Coney Barrett. Can we stop
No,
saying that she's the one that she gets it because she
no.
votes, she rules one time or two times the right way? Come on now.
I mean, Clay, this is like you're the historian. What's I have some cases on top tip of my tongue, but I'm gonna defer to you. You've talked about some of the most egregious anti-reconstruction cases. This to me feels like the equivalent of some of those, right? I mean,
oh yeah, it's the end of Reconstruction.
Yeah.
I think we're past that. So for folks that don't know, Reconstruction goes from 1865 to 1877.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some key things that I think is really interesting. So one of the things they did was they made it seem like all the black politicians during Reconstruction who would shape public education. You would have all this advocacy around economic rights, even for poor white people. They made them all seem incompetent, that they were dumb, that they weren't smart, that they were lazy, that they were, started too much chaos. Maybe they said, "I told you so" too often. So there was this narrative that they were incompetent and that when they're in power, all things fall apart. That's the way that I see so many black politicians treated, whether the attempted erasure of Obama's history, how he saved I'm not saying he was perfect, but how he saved the auto industry. He increased the minimum wage. His first bill that he signed is for equal pay for women and so on. So there's the shaming of our black politicians and black leaders. And then what you see with Reconstruction is that Republicans and Democrats, they both churned on black communities. And with the Compromise of 1877, they they said, well, we will leave the Negro problem to the South if you let the Southern Democrats rule. Republicans said, okay.
Yep.
So it was a giving in. It was an ultimate compromise. And a time that, things were doing pretty good, and it was helping poor white folks as well. So it was churning the back on citizens. And the only thing that we really haven't seen is the extreme violence of Reconstruction.
Yeah.
That's the one. I hope we never get there. But that's the one thing. It was a very although we look at it as it being, a time that was better, it was extremely violent. There was the 1875 plan in Mississippi where they just pushed people out of office. There's the 1862 Colfax massacre in Louisiana. Black men being killed at the voting booth. But the way they're doing it via government and via the courts is the same thing. And then the ultimate end of it all comes by 1896, when in Plessy versus Ferguson, they put in separate but equal.
Yep.
Which we all know.
That's the case I was thinking about. That's what I was thinking.
Boom. That, and it was 1877. It ends. All these black folks are out of office, and then the other thing with Reconstruction. Check this out. Part of the reason why you even had Republicans, and they were the more alleged progressive party back then. At this point, a lot of the radical Republicans, meaning they were the good ones, Thaddeus Stevens, they have all passed away for the most part. But I say this in the grift that I think some of these Republicans at the time who believed in civil rights, they started to see these black men, sadly black women couldn't vote or anything, having too much power. So it was like, wait a minute. We need to be the mouthpiece for you.
Woo, yeah.
Now you're like, okay, we're cool. We don't want you to be enslaved, and we're cool with you voting. But now you want to be in power too. You want to be the tax collector, which was an important job back then. You want to be over the post office, an important job back then. I mean, it still is. You want to be the lieutenant governor. And so my theory has been, Republicans and Democrats both churned on black communities because they said we can sustain our own. Then they used the courts and the laws and Plessy versus Ferguson and so on and so on. And then Jim Crow is basically solidified. So now my hope is, Reecie, We have a different electorate now. Electorate. We have a different. Women can vote.
Yeah.
Uh, Black folks can vote freely for the most part. I mean, not well. Women can vote. Black folks can vote more than they could in the 19th century. Goes back to what you say. We have the power, the
Mm-hmm.
capability to stop this. Louisiana, what Ashley Shelton and Gary Chambers did with those 4 amendments, we have guardrails, not enough, that they didn't have at the end of Reconstruction.
Yeah.
And I want us to capitalize on that, which should have happened in November. That was a
Yeah.
long answer. I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. Like I told you, that's what we needed to hear was that history lesson. The thing, the only saving grace, the only if there's any small consolation you can get, is that it's a whole lot of us in this motherfucker. Okay, we got 40 million blacks. It's 300 and I think 60 million people in this country. What they're
Yeah.
doing is actually very expensive. It's very expensive to fly
Yes.
people to um El Salvador on C-17s. It's very smart. It's very expensive to do that. And you can only get so many people over there at a time. Now, hopefully they don't start shipping motherfuckers on boats. They might be like, you know what, bitch, you just gave me an idea. Let me go get one of these naval air carriers. Let's hope that I didn't give them no idea.
We're gonna go real old school.
Yeah, they're gonna. I told them the passengers like I'm gonna be like, you know, let's start shipping these motherfuckers. Let's just do that. Let's get their ass on the boat. But it's very expensive to they. I think they paid El Salvador. I'm trying to look it up. Look it up for me, Clay. I think they paid them over $500 million. They made a deal. It was hundreds. I feel like it was hundreds of millions of dollars for them to take in these undeportables.
Mm.
Then to incarcerate, because that's what I'm calling it, these immigrants that they are snatching off, whether they have legal status or not, that costs money. Okay. To imprison people costs money. So
Wow, $200 million a year.
$200 million a year.
Wait, let me just make sure I have this right. No, I have this right. El Salvador's leader offered to house the U.S. deportees uh, as part of an unprecedented deal in which the U.S. pays $6 million in return. The money will help to El Salvador's system, which currently costs $200 million a year. Now I'm not clear who pays the rest of that $200 million. I'm not clear.
That's
I'm
why
just
El
looking this up
Salvador is
right now.
like, yeah. Get some American citizens over there. It's a business. This is all
Right,
business.
business.
This
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
business deal for them. So of course they on board with
Wow.
it. Fuck yeah, you want to bring people over here? We'll keep them locked up. It don't matter. Treat them like shit. And our people, they're gonna be building motherfucking shopping malls and casinos and shit and resorts off of our taxpayer dollars going to
Okay, I'm
ship
sorry.
people.
Quick correction. Just want to make
Yeah.
sure I'm accurate. As of March 15th, 2025, this could have changed. This is according to Reuters. The United States is set to pay El Salvador $6 million to imprison 300 alleged members of the Venezuelan gang. So that's what it was in March. $6 million for 300 alleged members of the gang. Go ahead.
That's $20,000 a head. $20,000 a head. But that's not even including the cost of transporting people over there. So my whole point is that this is very expensive. So they're not gonna get us all. Okay, they're not gonna get us all, but they could get you. Are you gonna be one of the unlucky ones? Regardless of whether you're law abiding, regardless of where you was born, that's what I'm trying to explain. They may not get all of us, but some of that, the ones that they get, could be you, could be your mama, could be your daddy, could be your uncle, could be your brother, could be your husband, could be your whatever. That's the concern that I have. And certainly they're going to be strategic in picking people. And to the extent that they just fuck up, that ain't going to save your ass. That is not going to save you. So I'm just saying that citizenship was on the ballot and this is the result of it. Pretty soon it's not going to even be loopholes. It's going to be just, we could do whatever the fuck we want to do. And who going to check and boo? All the while, by the
Yeah.
way, stock market tanking, inflation is still up, recession odds at 60%, GDP is contracting, hundreds of thousands of people about to be losing their jobs. So all of this shit is just fucking up. Don't cutting research, cutting all kind of shit, gutting our economy here, so that we can do what? Go back to picking cotton? That's how we supposed to live?
Oh no, it's not picking cotton. They got AI for all that now. It's going to be something we don't even see coming. And hell, you ain't. It's just gonna be. It's gonna be hard for you to even get a damn job. I mean, they got stuff. But I will say, folks are on YouTube saying, "What are we gonna do?" So here's what I'll say, and what I've been saying. If you're just new listening on YouTube, this is the Clay Kane Show on Sirius XM. You should get a subscription to Sirius XM. This is my show from 12 to 3. Reese's show is at 2 p.m. Then you have amazing people like Karen Hunter, who comes on at 3 o'clock. You got Laurie Daniel Favors at 10 a.m. You got the morning show crew. Urban View, we have 24/7 content. 24/7 content. So I say you have to be tapped into your local nonprofit, whatever it might be. Be aware what your local nonprofit is. Transformative Justice Coalition, they do amazing work. You have Indivisible, they do amazing work. Follow people on social media who are telling you the truth. Follow Reecie Colbert. Follow Keith Boykin. He's a great guy who used to work for the White House in the Clinton years. Does really, really phenomenal work. So you have to be tapped into people who are going to tell you that, and be critical. We were just critical of Democrats. We're going to be critical as well. So you have to be tapped in, and whatever way that you can be involved locally, be involved locally. We are in a states' rights country at this point. We damn sure in a city rights country at this point. Because you might have New York City, but then you have larger New York that's very red. You might have Atlanta, but then you have larger Georgia that's very red. So that's what you can do. And if we do have a reputable midterm election, let's hope people finally show up and show out.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Well, on a practical matter, I would say make sure you got somebody's phone number memorized. I know everybody got cell phones and shit. Memorize somebody who actually picks up their phone.
Print out your contact information.
Yeah, who will listen to voicemails. I'm bad. I don't listen to voicemails. So I'm not the emergency contact person unless it's my family. But have emergency contact information. Look up where you can get pro bono legal services for, unless you have an attorney. If you have family attorney, you good. But have these conversations with your folks. What to do? Watch some YouTube videos from legal experts. What to do if you're stopped by ICE? You can be stopped by ICE even if you are an American citizen. Be very clear about that. That's not going to stop you from getting stopped. Okay. What are your rights? If you're stopped by the police, what are your rights? You have to understand that. Not to say that they will abide by it, but you have a better chance of getting out of it if you at least have some sort of situational awareness of shit. Okay. So those are some of the most important things is make sure that you have handy, and I'm guilty. I don't have it handy myself, but I know that in case of emergency, my husband, we will be all right. We know a lot of attorneys. But just make sure that you, at a minimum, every single person listening, and now some people be like, that's crazy. Everybody should know somebody's phone number. Well, everybody should know Maya Angelou, and they don't. So make sure that you at least have one or more emergency contacts memorized. The real ID situation is starting to come into effect. So most of us on our driver's licenses, if we have something that indicates that we are an American citizen. So if you don't walk around with your passport, then at least have the awareness. If you get stopped and you're asked to show ID, to say, hey, this is a real ID. This shows proof of my citizenship. So that's something, just be aware of what kind of documentation that you're carrying on and how that can help plead your case. So, I mean, those are just kind of the minimum practical steps to take. But yeah, it's and then when you're traveling, make sure that you're aware of what kind of rights and laws you have. If you're going through immigration, if you're interacting with ICE outside of a traffic stop or a police stop or whatever, you have to understand, you have to be more situationally aware of what kind of encounters you can have. And then tell the friend and a family member, make sure everybody around you is aware of that. That's just for starters. But Clay, here's the thing. I know we got to go to a break soon, but I think the other saving grace, I said this is expensive to do all this shit, but other saving grace is that they're really fucking this economy up. They're fucking up
Yeah.
the economy. They're fucking up Social
Yeah.
Security. They're fucking up people's health care. And the white folks, the MAGA people, or the couch voters, I ain't saying all of them are waking up, but all you need is a handful of them to activate and be like, whoa, we got to do something about that. I think this is going to come to a head before we get to an election. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Let's head to a break. Do you want to stay on and chat with the folks, Reecie?
Yeah, I'll
For a
chat with
minute
you
on
for
the
a
good
second.
YouTube? Okay, we'll close it out. We'll get some calls after the break. Clay Kane Show with Reecie Colbert. Be right back.
You're listening to The Clay Kane Show.
Hey, y'all. Sandra says, what's going on about the driver's license nowadays? We have to have a star on it. Yeah, the star is the real ID symbol. So basically, a real ID means that you've shown proof of your American citizenship, Social Security, birth certificate, those kinds of things, along with other forms of proof that you have to show. I don't know how it works if you weren't born here. I didn't look to that hard because it didn't apply to me. But so you're going to need a real ID to enter federal facilities, to travel even domestically. So yeah, if you don't have a real ID and you are an American citizen, then you should just get it. Just get the shit. If you aren't an American citizen, then contact somebody who knows that information. Okay. Lightwork says, now this has great videos. I want to do a stop by ICE. We must vote them all out of office. But E-Dog says, I guess, have a lawyer in your phone. That's true. I got a lot of lawyers that I know. Let's see. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Yeah, that's what all this internment camp shit is. Let's see. What else y'all talking about? I'm gonna have to get off in 3 seconds as soon as Clay comes back. Yeah, get your license updated. The real ID shit is coming into effect May. Okay. Yes, to get on. Okay, K Nicole says also you needed to get on military federal installations. Yep, to get into any federal facility, you'll need it. Now I don't know what they do with non-citizens or people who don't have it. But anyways, y'all look that up. All right, I gotta go. Bye, y'all.